From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Hey guys, I hope everybody is doing really well. So this is related to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He's autistic, and we've been covering a lot of stuff, and we've been exploring, the possibility of this being financial and the family being like living paycheck to paycheck. And so earlier today, they were talking about SSDI, and so I'm actually coming in here for help because I know you guys, somebody is experiencing this more than I am. I don't have any knowledge of SSI. I have no knowledge of SSDI. I am working through all of this process to find out, whether or not, and people are probably saying, what does it matter? It matters. It matters to motive. And so I'm trying to, and I want to be factual. We all want to be working together. So now I want to ask my audience this. I'm going through all of this stuff because this morning, everybody said the maximum payout was the $943, which is right here, and that's for the supplemental security income. Is that, okay, Nikki, reach out to me on bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and or you can message me and I'll talk to you right after this. But Social Security disability, according to this, they can make up to $3,822. So I'm working with my team. They're starting to say, because some of them have some type of background in all of this because they do. I don't know what their jobs are, but it probably is in the medical field of some sort, okay? And they're saying that that's associated with, okay, I get $850, got you. But they say that this right here, like the SSDI for children, is only associated when a parent is disabled, so they wouldn't do it. Is this supplemental security income, this $943, is that based on income, or because Sebastian is disabled, he would automatically qualify for something for his disability? Because I've always been told that disabled, yes, what? It is based on income. Thank you. So it's based on income. So for the income guidelines, thank you, Jerry. Let me read your comment here. In PA, you can't make more than $3,400. My daughter gets SSI of $943. So $3,400 is the cap. Okay, I'm going to probably have to look in that angle. Okay, thank you. My son's is based off of income, and that's just for the SSI. Is it, and Melissa gets, okay, and is it for just questioning purposes, cap depends on state. Okay. So somebody says they would not qualify for SSDI. Now, what happens how do they work out? Because this is the issue that I see, and maybe somebody might be able to answer this for me. With his medication, because sometimes when you have a disability, and you're on certain medications. For example, he would be on some type of gene therapy or a chromosome therapy, rather, a chromosome therapy. And I have to think because of his rare disease, chromosome disease, I guess it's deficient a chromosome or something to that effect. And so with that particular medication, I would have, because it is rare, that's what they say. I don't know much about it, but Court TV had a lady on there, and they did an interview with her, and she talks about, it explains this. It was really good. It was really informative. And but she says that the condition is rare. And so when I hear rare, I always hear bring money with you when it comes to pharmaceuticals, right? So I have to think that the medication that he's on for this rare condition, it has to be highly, highly expensive. And if he's not qualified for any of these things, how could they, you see what I'm saying? Like, how could they afford it? Like, I don't know if I'm not saying that it does cost thousands of dollars, but what if it does cost thousands of dollars a month? How do they do that if they can't, he could still get state insurance. Okay. So that doesn't affect any type of payment for disability. So he can get one without the other. Okay, somebody says maybe CP is in a union. Probably. I didn't even think about that angle. Thank you, Keto, which is generally good coverage. Okay. Why still on retirement age should be... Why still on SSI when your retirement age should be Social Security? Because sometimes Social Security doesn't cover it because it's based upon how much money you spend in. So some people may not have 40 quarters. They might not have any money. They might have been, homeless or whatever. And when they still get a certain age, they still get a payment of some sort. To be honest with you, I don't know. That's why I'm here. I'm learning right along with you, Carol. I'm learning right along with you. But I figured, I've been racking my brain about this angle, and we may not be holding water, but I want to make sure. She was in military, maybe some VA insurance as well. Good point. Maybe some TRICARE. How long do you have to be in the military to get TRICARE? Because for my understanding, TRICARE is much different than VA. This is a good conversation, guys. Thank you. I think everybody's helping everybody understand this a little better. My nephew's meds are 10,000. Oh, geez, every 2 weeks. They're on Medicaid. It covers a certain percentage, so they still have a lot. Okay. My insurance didn't cover my autistic son meds, so manufacturer covers it. Oh, nice. Okay, well, that's good to know. Good point with military. I agree. Yes, this is it is based off quarters worked and the amount you are making, etc. After the cap, if you make more than monthly, they will deduct the payment down. So, okay, so is there a possibility that they may be getting even if they're not getting the full 943, there might be getting something? Because I'm trying to look at their income, and their income just, it doesn't seem like she's a service tech for Brinks. I can't imagine that that's $120,000 a year job, and he's a crane operator. He's only been doing this since 2019 or 2020. So it always makes me wonder, it's just not that their income is not mathing for their lifestyle, which is making me kind of have this appearance that maybe they're living well beyond their means. And so I'm trying to find out if he held, with him leaving and going to Seth's, how much that was going to disrupt their finances if they were already strapped. TRICARE is usually active duty spouses. Okay. Oh, that would explain it, because my uncle was active. I mean, he was active military for 20 or 30 years, and I remember my aunt having TRICARE, but I didn't know what the difference was. So that explains it. Okay. My dad was in the union, and he was retired. My daughter gets $1,300, and she's not disabled. Oh, wow. Well, he's not retired, though, so I don't think... but that's interesting. I didn't know that either. So Monica says that the dad was in the union, and when he retired, Her daughter gets $1,300 and she's not disabled. It just comes from the union and the pension and how that's all paid out. Interesting. I didn't know that. You have to be in for 20 years to get retirement benefits. Vicky, are you talking about like retirement benefits from like the army, like the military? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, it's called spin down. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. Champ VA covers it for sure. Okay. Yeah, I think some people are getting it. You know, math isn't mathing. They're not likely they would get any income. Okay. Well, you know, we don't know what their income is. I mean, well, let me just add it. Let's just say that they're both making about $23 an hour. And I don't know if they're both making that or not, but that seems reasonable. I can't imagine what a service tech would be making for Brinks. I mean, I guess she could be making more. I do believe she is the breadwinner. And electricians do get do get decent pay. You know, that's one field I'm very fluent in. So let's say $46 an hour times 40. So it's about $1,840 per week times 4.3. So we're looking at about $7,900 a month. Or excuse me, $7,900 a quarter. So that's that right? 4.3. No, that's a month. Because that's weekly. 40 hours, 1,840 was weekly times 4.3, which would be monthly. So they're making almost like right about $8,000 a month. If they're making, what the $20, the 23, I gave them both about $23 an hour. Yeah, I gave them both about $23 an hour. So based on that income, what do you guys, crane workers make great? They do make great money. The problem is, and we did do some research on that, and let me read this to you, because the issue with him is that he is new. He's not a seasoned crane operator. And so there's a pay scale issue there because he's only been licensed since 2019. He hasn't been doing this for a significant amount of time. Let me get to that. Hold on a second and I'll read this to you. It's a lot because, I mean, we did a lot. And I still think, we're still in the morning this morning. I think it was late last night we were talking about this. So I'm almost there, guys. Dad burn it. I know it's here. Review, floor plan, no. We're getting there. Oh, and there was also something about who owns their house. And this is what we found on Google. It says, how much does a crane operator make in Tennessee? The average crane operator salary in Tennessee is $39,000 a year, or about $18.75 per hour. Entry-level positions start right around $34,125 per year, while most experienced workers make up to about $62,500 a year. So, and of course, this is Google. You never know what it is, because I tell you what, when I went to college and I wanted to become a paralegal, I heard I was going to be making a crap ton of money, right? Being a paralegal, working in a law firm, being the right-hand man. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Any update? Finding him? No. We're going to be. I've been looking at maps for days, but we just kind of started having a conversation about motive when it comes to the household, and so we kind of went down. We took an evening and went down and explored that, and so today's stuff is going to be pretty much geared toward that. But we're still looking at maps. And excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. I can feel it coming. Excuse me. Hopefully I can edit that out. If you're making over $50,000 in Tennessee, you're making bank, better than most. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Where you work, you can see if it's a union job or not. Yeah, I think union, that's a good point. I didn't even think about the union aspect of this when we started talking about it. That's a good, I see all your bless yous. Thank you guys. Oh, well, Phoenix, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you, my love. I hope you're doing well today. Happy Friday. It's a great day, isn't it? I feel like today's like a really good day. I've been I don't know. It's just been, I don't know. Today just feels, I don't know, uplifting today. I feel like we're going to get some good news soon on this case. I don't know why. We're just going down, we're spitballing, I want to make sure everybody knows that, when we're talking about these things and talking about motives, these are speculative angles. These are theories and stuff that are being developed because we're not getting any information. So we don't really know what happened. And when you don't know what happened, you got to think about all the things that could happen. And then you've got to try to start eliminating some of those just from process of elimination. This is so far-fetched. There's no way this maths. There's no way that this could be this, right? So we start doing that, and then we start honing in on certain theories and things like that, and then we start wondering like the whys. And see, we may have 3 different theories, but each of those 3 different theories may also have 3 different backgrounds, or something that may explain them in multiple ways. So you're, instead of just looking at 3 possibilities, you could be technically looking at 9 possibilities or 20 possibilities, depending on what little variable changes in the case. And so we're trying to plug in any things that we can corroborate to help really hone in on what it could be. And so this was one of the angles that we had. Is this financial? I do believe that Chris's house of cards were caving in on him. I believe that that is relevant. Now, how relevant is the financial aspect? I do believe that they were living high on the hog. The 700, no matter how you look at it, a $700,000 mortgage is still a $700,000 mortgage, whether it's in Tennessee or not, so you still have to you can live high on the hog for, a lot of money, but no matter where you go in the United States of America, a $700,000 mortgage is going to be about the same price, because you're talking about national mortgage rates. So 6.75% is 6.75% in California as it is in Tennessee. I'm just saying, just putting it out there like that. So they still had to cover that mortgage. And I found it very odd that they are living in 2 separate places. They're wanting to sell their house. They have, when you look at it, they're making, I guarantee, living paycheck to paycheck, because if you take their $700,000 mortgage, their $50,000 or $60,000 car payments, 2 of them, God knows what other toys they have that have payments on them. He's got a motorcycle. That's not cheap. It's a Harley Davidson. So you're looking at monthly payments chipping away at this money. Plus, that was gross. We didn't even take the taxes out. Taxes on $8,000 a month got to be, $1,000, $1,500. Social Security, disability, all that other stuff, So, but I think we clarified. So for the people that are coming in, we've been, this morning's live, we went over, possible motives with Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. And one of those things, was Sebastian was leaving the house and going to Seth's. And we had this SSI payment or SSDI payment. And so there was some conflicting information. We were looking at this, and then some of our mods had stated that, because they have some type of background in this, and they said, well, let me look into this. And so they looked into this, and they're like, well, they can't really get the SSDI payment unless one of the parents are already on disability. And we're like, okay, well, none of the parents are on disability, so this doesn't go away. So that does bring us back down to the SSI, which is what we learned about from our audience this morning of that 943. And then the next question is that 943 based upon the household income? And so people in here are helping explain all this. So in the chat, if you guys want to go up and down, you can. They've been explaining this. And it appears that this payment right here is associated with the income of the house, and most likely the Proudfoots do not qualify for this amount. And so the other question was, well, if they don't qualify for these, how is he getting the medication? He's got a rare chromosome deficiency that requires like a chromosome therapy where he's taking a medication for it. And because it's rare, I just naturally think that, expensive, like most people. It's pharmaceuticals in the United States, and it's a rare pharmaceutical. Yeah, a pharmaceutical in the United States is going to jack that price up, whether it's justified or not. Welcome to America, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, and somebody said that even if they don't have this income coming in, he could still qualify for like the Medicaid portion of it. And then we started getting into the conversation of insurance, and we started talking about possibly unions. Is Chris associated with a union? Apparently they got great insurance. So we're just trying to find a motive, and it's taking us down all these little lines. And I still believe that Chris Proudfoot's house of cards is falling, whether they're receiving $1,000 less or not. I don't think at this point, after talking to my team, that this is a viable option anymore. And because we did a live earlier this morning about it, I wanted to make sure that we still continued to show that we are looking into all this stuff. And you guys just have to see the work, because we're processing it and putting it out there as we're processing it and putting it out there. So this is part of the job, and we look at things. Do they hold water? This might be one of those angles that just isn't holding water. But just because this doesn't hold water doesn't mean the motive has changed too much. I still believe that it has something to do with him losing the ability to have his home, his wife, and I just feel like he blames Sebastian for all of that. I don't know why, but we definitely know he thought of him as a predator. He's made that statement many times to Seth and everybody else, that he believes that Sebastian will R his daughter, and he needs to keep Sebastian away from Faith because of that. And so if you have that plus, he feels like his life is falling apart, he might put some blame on that on Sebastian, which is what I expect happen. But again, that's only one theory. If you guys remember my other theory is I believe he was there that weekend and some altercation happened and he just exploded. And when he exploded, that's when everything happened. And of course, Katie was there and covering for him. So again, I got two separate theories that are completely polar opposite of each other, but they both, with the actual evidence we currently have right now, there is three plausible explanations here. One is Katie didn't know and Chris snuck in the house. The other one is the explosion theory, where Chris just lost his stuff and Katie's just covering for him. And the third theory is Katie Proudfoot did this herself and called Chris to help. So those really are, in my opinion, the three most viable options in this case. That doesn't necessarily mean make them so. Those are just the three viable options based on the evidence that I have seen and heard from law enforcement that makes those possible. And as more evidence comes out, we're going to be able to eliminate more possibilities. But we're looking at those angles. But the Seth angle just doesn't bode with me, because he was on camera. He was at a facility, like he was there. He was in jail already. I don't know how to explain it than that. That's where he works, He was on camera, and you know how secured those places are. I just don't, there's no way. There's just no way. And somebody says, well, maybe he hired somebody. Why? The question would be why? He wanted his son. Why would he do anything to prevent him? I mean, he was there nights and weekends. You heard even Katie out of her own mouth said Seth is his biggest champion on the sidelines. He's the one there rooting him on. You saw how happy he looks every time he's with his son. You see him. Katie even told us herself there's not a thing that goes by, like with school or school functions, that Seth's not there. That sounds like a pretty good guy. That sounds like a pretty good dad, if you ask me. Because we know, especially some of my beautiful women in here, you guys are being mom and dad. Not everybody's that lucky to have such a great father that's sitting there rooting on the sidelines, And we have to remember that. Seth was. So that's why I don't really look at Seth. I don't think that Seth Rogers is a viable option. I think it's a waste of time to go down, because he's on camera, he's at a jail, and he absolutely loves his son and was so welcoming of his son coming home that... it doesn't make sense. And if something, it's a nothing burger. There's no Seth involvement. I absolutely do not believe in a Seth involvement. So now we have to come back to the only other two people involved in this child's life, right? Because there's three main people in this child. We have ancillary people, right? But we don't have outside influence, though. So this is an inside job. He has no friends and no internet. Outside influence eliminated. Eliminated. So I was hoping that this would be something, but we're still looking into this. This may develop. I mean, we may get some information wrong, but honestly, it doesn't sound like what we're hearing in the background, where he, maybe the Proudfoots were actually being honest about not receiving anything. But I don't understand how she called and canceled his benefits. We heard that she called and canceled his benefits because he was missing. And I don't know what benefits she was talking about. Were they just insurance benefits, or was she receiving some type of monthly payment? And I think it's a legitimate question that needs to be asked, because to be honest with you, I truly don't know. I have never, I haven't done any of this. I don't know anything about disability. I'm obviously not old enough to collect retirement. So I am absolutely, utterly ignorant when it comes to this stuff, and I have to rely heavily on my audience for explanation, and my mods. You have to apply for the benefit. SSDI is for people who have worked. Yes, Belle, but there's a special provision. If you go back, because we were reading it last night, and the special provision for SSDI when it comes to children is those benefits are based upon the parent's income and what they paid into Social Security. So it's a little different, and that's where it starts getting hinky. And because I was reading the whole entire book last night, I was posting it in chat. We were taking sections out and everything like that. And they can, and I didn't even know this, that even if a child is on SSDI, they're allowed to, I think, work and make like $9,000 a year or something like that. So they even have a program to help them get out and be more productive and stuff like that with being on SSDI. And that is under the age of 18. So but once you're, and if you're disabled under the age of 18, then that disability or whatever your benefit you get stays with you until you're 22. And then I think when you turn 22 is when you go on your own. If I read everything correctly, you're going to have to do your own research, because I'm just going to tell you, my head was spinning when I was reading this stuff. Okay, I understand stuff, but maybe it was just because it was late last night when I was going through. If I had to guess, I was probably after 10:30 when we were discussing this last night. I get it, Gigi. Gigi says, for those that aren't, that can't read the chat, she says, I'm really sick of people trying to put the blame and saying and thinking Seth has something to do with this, Sebastian's disappearance. It's kind of hard, guys. I mean, I know it's easy. We don't know, but it's kind of hard to be on camera and be 45 minutes away. While nobody's cleared in this matter, I'm just going to say, we're not in the Twilight Zone, and we don't, even though we watch fantasy on TV, it's not our reality. So we don't beam people up. We don't transport people telepathically from one era to another era, or from one location to another location. It's just not plausible. So unless there's some type of technology that has come out that we are not aware of, I just can't figure out how Seth could have done this. Because he was literally working. I mean, you know what is so sad, guys? Listen to this nonsense. Listen to this. You know what is so sad? Can you imagine if Seth wasn't working that night? If he didn't do the night shift? Because this happened in the early morning hours. Can you imagine if Seth was sitting at home alone, sleeping in his bed when this was going on? Can you imagine how much different that man's life would be right now? He just so happened to be working during the time that Sebastian disappeared. But how many of us are working at 3:00 in the morning? There's not many of us. So he was literally saved, because trust me, you know how the internet is. They would have tore that man up if he was at home alone when his son disappeared, just on the heels of him about to get his son. They would have turned this around saying Seth didn't want his kid. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's true. These people would have done that. This man is so lucky that he was working. So I don't think Seth is an angle, and this child was sheltered. There's only a few people in this child's life. This is really feeling like an inside job. This has lack of evidence, which feels like a cleanup. Otherwise, there should be so much evidence all over the place. And, there was obviously problems in the marriage. Chris was expressing those to Seth. Seth was taking Sebastian to try to relieve some of those marital problems. Chris was living in a camper in a different state, wouldn't come home. And he had a belt incident, which got CPS knocking at his door, all because of this boy that he didn't even want, he doesn't even like, he thinks is a pervert, and he's sick and tired of taking care of. Okay. Becky, good question. Hold on. Let me get up to Becky's question. Give me just a second. Would CP be out looking if it was Faith missing? I don't know, to be honest with you. I know what you're going to say, what I was about to say. I was about to say, damn well he would be out there looking. But you know what? Chris didn't even want her. The only reason why Chris wants Faith is because he didn't want Nina to have child support, because he considered her a gold-digging bitch. His words, not mine. So if Faith did disappear, it kind of scares me if she was in her father's custody, at this point. I would be very concerned that she might, but, that's just my opinion. But yeah, we would say, yeah, he would be out there searching if it was Faith. But there's a piece of me that says pump the brakes, chick. He didn't even want her. The only thing he didn't want to do is have to pay for her. That's how I believe. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's just my opinion. I want to make sure everybody's factual over here, okay? I'm not, this is opinion based. The only facts we have are very slim, and I don't believe half of them, so. CP was the one, was on the call with KP. Do you know if he had two phones, kept one in the RV? Lisa Ann, that is a very good question, because I can tell you guys know me, right? I'm on a phone right now, right? Hi guys, you're on my working phone, right? But I also have this, and I've got Google Voice on this, right? Because I run my show. So even when I don't, I have my show number on this. So I as long as I have internet access, right, I can use my Google Voice. So the cousin was supposed to be there. Has anyone spoke to her? Yeah, no. I'd have to venture to say that if she brought that up, that law enforcement would have had to at least corroborate the statement. How much they pushed, I don't know. Chris was not at work, nor was he at home. At girlfriend and on the phone with KP for 3 hours. The 3 hours is going to come into play. I don't know how it is, Angie, but it's going to come into play. I don't know if he was setting, Katie up. Oh. What if Chris Proudfoot was trying to set Katie up? I'm like really going down the rabbit hole, guys. Like, I think I'm going to have to start getting my Tenn hat. That would be wild. But could we put it past him? I don't know. But the 3 hours it seems odd to me. It seems really odd to me. You thought about that yesterday? Well, you guys just saw the light bulb go off my eyes. I never even thought about it until now. I just want to know how he called 911 in another county, which went, he didn't call 911, Tara. This is the crazy part, and what has stumped most of us. He didn't call 911. He called the sheriff's main number. He looked up their number and called that. He didn't even call 911. It makes me wonder, do they think if they don't call 911, they can't monitor their location? Like, there's something weird as to why he called, because you know who else did that? And maybe we need to ask these questions, because this is another Tennessee case that did the exact same thing. The Wells. Didn't the Wells call into the dispatch? I mean, I'm asking that as a question because I'm almost confident that they also called in to dispatch and didn't call 911. And Don Wells' story was basically the same thing. They didn't know which one I was in. I was in Washington County. Whatever. I could be wrong on that. Somebody correct me. Good Lord. Wouldn't want to be wrong. Can't tell I get beat up on here, do you? No recording that way? Maybe, JC. I don't know. He wasn't even in Memphis working. The light in the back of the house. Guys, you guys need to go over to my friend Guidance. She's one of my mods. She's been working around the clock with the team. I love my mod squad. They're amazing women. They all do their part. Like even our beautiful Sonia, she makes shirts. She sells shirts too. So if you guys ever want custom shirts, but what she does is she donates shirts to missing people's families, so they have shirts to wear when their family members go missing. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is the kind of people that I surround myself with to help with these works. And Guidance did an overlay, and you guys have to go to her channel. And she did this overlay for, those lights that we saw out there that we can't figure out. We're told as a dump truck. I'm telling you, they're not a dump truck. And I can tell you why. Because she overlaid the house. She overlaid this. Dude, we could see the light running in the backyard. There is no, you're not going to sit here and tell me or try to convince me that was a garbage truck. Because this morning, I watched exactly what that was. And that was no stinking garbage truck. It looked like somebody was going through that yard with a flashlight from that to over to that community, that where they dog hit, that community that's being built. I watched that this morning. I see where that angle is. You are not going to, the law enforcement can convince and blow smoke. Sorry if I'm blowing your case. I don't really care. I know exactly what I just saw this morning, and there was no freaking garbage truck. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, 100% certainty. So you guys can clip this and do whatever. I know for a fact that was not a garbage truck. And it looked like it was somebody with a flashlight going from the back of the Proudfoot home over to that community where they're building, where the scent just so happened to disappear. Sorry. Nope. Wrong answer. When I know, I know. That's all I can say. When I know, I know. His sister works at the sheriff's office. She graduated as a DS cadet many years ago. Well, I hope nobody in their family starts messing with this case behind the scenes, because that's what happened with, I don't know if you guys know about this case. If you don't know about it, it's another Rogers case. Crystal Rogers from Kentucky, Bardstown, Kentucky. The assailant, which was Brooks Houck, his brother, Nick Houck, actually worked for Bardstown Police Department when she disappeared. And he was such an obstructionist inside the department, they had to fire him. So I hope nobody in the Proudfoot's family or anybody starts messing with this case, because I tell you what, that's not a good thing. I'll leave it at that. They should stop the new building community until he's found. Unfortunately, I wish that they could, Michelle, but you're talking about private property rights, which is a constitutional right. And so they have to have just cause to do something like that, because you're talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars that those builders would be losing to shut that down. And the community would have to pay for it, right? If you have to do something like that, the government has to pay you, compensate you for it. You've got the state of Tennessee, which is clearly a broke state because they can't even afford law enforcement. They have their stations shut down. You got to hit a button and say, hey, can I call? Sorry, we're closed. You're going to have to call 911. I would lose my stuff if I needed help and went to a sheriff's department to come to a closed building. I would literally lose my stuff. Crime doesn't happen Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, folks. And I've heard that too many times in the state of Tennessee from multiple people, that they've gone to sheriff's departments and their sheriff's departments' doors were closed. All people connected to TB in Washington State. Yeah. We haven't found them. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly about the garbage truck. Yeah, put those in quotes because I'm telling you. You guys need to go over to guidance. When I come back here later today to do another live, I will have her YouTube link, and I'll throw it in chat. I don't have it right off the top of my hand or my head. And you guys can go over and look. She did a great job. The overlay is amazing. And because I didn't know what I was looking at. And I think we discussed it here, how if somebody didn't circle those little dots on that dark screen, would I have really equated to them being flashlights? And the answer is no. To me, that piece of information didn't fit yet. It didn't fit yet. I couldn't make it out. And even when we got the full video, even when we got to see exactly the whole entire situation from a bird's eye view, I still couldn't understand what I was looking at. And I kept saying that to my team. They're like, oh, no, you just need to look here. I feel like the dumb blonde in the group, right? No pun intended. But I'm looking at it. And then she did this incredible overlay, and she put the trucks on it. She put the backyard on it, and you saw the light source. And that was it. I'm like, I saw it. I got it. I see it now. I know what I just saw. And it was not a dump truck. There is no way a dump truck in that area. That was slap dead in the middle of grass. You tell me what homeowner is not going to be pissed off of having a garbage truck driving down their easement between their houses in the grass. It ain't happening, folks. It ain't happening. Emma, it's on my friend's YouTube page here. You'll have to go to YouTube to watch it. Hold on. If you give me just a second, I will tell you what the name of the YouTube channel is. I can't throw it in chat because I'm on a different phone looking it up. Oops. Give me just a second. I think it might be Guidance TLC. Hold on, let me see if it's Guidance TLC. I think it's Guidance TLC. Yes. So she's on YouTube at Guidance for Voiceless. The @ sign and Guidance, GUIDANCE, the number 4, and then Voiceless. VOICELESS. Make sure that's her. It's her. And she just dropped a video 2 hours ago, my first attempt at overlay of the Nick Barris video. She did an amazing job. Go over there. It's 4 minutes and 3 seconds long, so it's TikTok friendly. You guys have short time spans. I'm sorry. We love YouTube because we like to talk a lot. That's why I quit making videos on here and came to you live, because I like talking to my people. I like talking to you. I don't go back and read your comments later. I really don't. I don't have time for that. And not to be rude, I'm a blunt person. You got to love me about that. But I love answering these questions here and now as they're coming in, because later there's 150 questions in there. I can't answer them. What is this? This is related to, you're probably talking about what's behind me. It's about our topic of conversation related to the Sebastian Rogers case in Hendersonville, Tennessee. We've been trying to break down to see if there's a possibility of an income element to this. And it doesn't seem like that income, like for Sebastian's disability or whatever, really does hold water. It seems like he's not getting a monthly stipend from this family. He might have an insurance benefit, but it seems like they may have been, they have too high of an income to qualify for financial benefits for Sebastian's illness. Now, this is all allegedly. We don't know whether they're receiving. I could say that they're not receiving a dime and find out that they're getting, $1,400 a month. But the way it's reading, the way we're understanding how this is working, it doesn't seem plausible that he's getting it. The only nuance is the disability for autistic kids, which is here. But the way one of my mods read the paperwork, the only way a disabled child could get this payment is if their parent is also disabled. If we're reading that right. So I don't think that this really applies. So we were looking at this payment here, which is the supplemental security income, which is the 943 payment. And everybody has said this payment here is based on income. This payment here is based on what is paid into Social Security, while this is based on your income. And so it is possible, they do have a spin down, so it is possible that maybe a portion of this goes to them, but it seems fairly nominal, if at any, based on what we're reading. But again, we could be off base. They could be receiving more money than we think they are. They could be receiving a lot less. They could be receiving none. And the reason why we're bringing this up is because this morning, this was one of my angles that I had, and I thought this was a viable possibility. But under further looking into and further debate with the team, it may be opposite of what I said, which is why we're having the conversation, because we got to correct that. Hopefully that answered your question. Only thing is city food. If you guys start making me hungry, somebody's buying me lunch. I'm just joking. Don't be talking about food with Bullhorn Betty, okay? I'm sorry, you're not allowed. There's a few things we cannot talk about on this show, and food is one of them. I am a foodie. I will stuff my ever-loving face. Yeah, wrote it down. She said yeah, it's guidance for voiceless. Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Misty. Can I pin that? Am I allowed to pin that? Can I pin that? Pin this comment. There you guys go. Right there. It's guidance for the voiceless. And a number 4. But I really think you guys should. I know you guys don't do YouTube very much, but I really do think you should go over there, because this is like I said, I was confused about that video with the lights, the dark with the little lights and stuff like that. So confused. I didn't know what I was looking at. But guys, you go over there, you watch this, you're going to be shocked. I'm telling you, I was. There's not a whole lot that shocks me this day and age. But I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a dump truck. Then I thought maybe it was floodlights turning on. But it wasn't until that overlay was done and you see crystal clear. You see crystal clear. You see the direction, and it looks like somebody is moving. So do what you will. Guys, I love you. I just wanted to come back and clarify that, because we did have a discussion, and of course I did drop it also, and I really do appreciate all you that helped me understand this, because there's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and you guys have experience. There may be some things you don't understand that I have experience in. And so this was, I think, very educational for everybody. I will be dropping this on my YouTube channel. I know you guys won't be able to go back and replay the live here on TikTok. But if you want to come over to my YouTube channel, it's Bullhorn Betty. And you can watch all of my coverage on the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm really taking a deep dive in it. A lot of the stuff we're going over is just theories and speculations at this moment based upon the facts that we know as we know them, and applying them. And as we're finding out additional facts that can be corroborated, we're adding that stuff back into the mix. So we're just trying to understand what truly happened. I think by understanding what truly happened will help us get a little closer to finding out where Sebastian is. And so that's all we're trying to do. We're just doing our part to help this family. And I appreciate all your help in helping us do that. Because again, you guys just explained all of this to everybody, and you guys helped me do it. So, and people need to understand it as well, because it is a point. We're looking at a financial aspect. We're looking at an issue here. We're not just looking at, there is a reason why this boy disappeared, and we need to find out why. And I really believe with Chris, there's obviously family fracture. He's living in a different state, in a camper, barely coming home. He won't come home unless Sebastian's out of the house, unless he's at his father's house. That right there should tell you how contentious it is inside that home. Who else would have a motive? Who else would want this boy gone? There's like the father and the mother, the biological father and the mother appear to love this child. In my mind, there literally is only one person that didn't. And it's sad. He deserved better. He deserved better. And nobody was the wiser. And that's what angers me so much. And that's what makes me so mad at Katie, because she was living in that house. She cannot tell me, come on, guys. There's many of us here let's have a come to Jesus conversation here. There is many of us here, whether you're a man or a woman that has been in a violent relationship, period. You know what kind of contention lies behind your doors better than anybody else. You know whether or not things are going too far. So this idea that Katie can just say, I didn't know it would get to this later down the road is bullcrap, because you knew it was going on and you traveled all over this country with the same guy that did this to your son, leaving your son behind. If she ain't guilty of a crime, she's guilty of being a pretty shitty mom, at minimum. At minimum. So, I don't know. Could mom have done it? You know, she, like I said, we have 3 theories here. One, that mom's the aggressor in all of this. But to be honest with you, it doesn't hold the weight. It just doesn't hold the weight, because the problem is we can't find the motive for her. What motive would she have for making her son disappear? She literally has none. What motive does Seth have? He literally, I mean, we can make up a motive. We can say, well, she didn't want him to go over to his father's house, you know? So she made him disappear? So instead of being able just to see him on every other weekend in summer vacations, just never see him again? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we can make stuff up and it fit for a specific talking point. But when you play the tape through to see if it holds water, it's like that. It's a petty reason. It doesn't. Normal people don't act that way. This is not going to be that. People act very, believe it or not, we're human beings. We generally function the same way. You know, a cat functions in the same way. A duck function, no matter what breed of duck you have, they kind of walk like a duck and talk like a duck. You know what I'm saying? So we have these same types of behaviors, and it just seems to me that the behaviors being displayed by the Proudfoots are showing shame and guilt. We're not getting that from anybody else. And everybody's like, where's the evidence? And like I said this morning, the evidence is not having any evidence. How can there be no evidence? How can it be that clean? How can it be that clean? Sounds cleaned. Sorry, guys. You guys are great. Well, I'm glad we clarified some things about this payment. This payment thing, the financial, him having a financial, I still think that there's a financial angle to this. I still believe the house of cards was coming down on Chris, and I believe that Katie Proudfoot was the breadwinner. But I don't think they were receiving payment for Sebastian that would have altered their monthly dynamic enough that he became a liability, if that makes sense. So I just don't think the whole payment thing really does play into this. Does the financial aspect? I still haven't gotten off the financial aspect yet, even with this information here. I still believe that might still hold some water. I think we still have to work that angle just a little bit more and resolve some issues that I have with it. But it looks like this right here might be a dead end. So we'll see. We're keeping working. We haven't stopped looking at maps. Of course, I had to take a break from the maps, guys. I had been looking at maps for 4 days. I was running myself ragged, and I've got to identify areas to search when I get there. So I thought, maybe just putting them away and letting my brain just rest from the maps a little bit, talking about a different talking point, and then I'll go back to the maps refreshed. Maybe something will pop up in my head, maybe help me focus a little bit better. But sometimes when you're looking at the same thing over and over and over again, it can cloud your judgment. So I just had to step away from the maps for a day. So we're going to be talking about other aspects of the case, and then we'll get back into the maps. So thank you, guys. It was nice seeing you all. I love you. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you soon.